We continue on with our year in review. Killian McClatchy, and joining me here is the Big South Coach of the Year for the men's golf team. It's Jason Payne. And Coach, great season for you.
Well,
great season
thank
for your
you.
squad.
You know, it's got a good ring to it.
You like it?
Yeah, and it kind of just flows right off your tongue, but everything does with you, Killian. So, but thank you. Thanks for having me here. Excited to do this.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about – I don't want to talk to you too much. I don't need to blow your ego out too much, but we're more focused on your team. It was such a crazy and interesting year for just about everybody here, not just at CSU but in the country. So how would you summarize this past season for your squad?
You know, it definitely every year is kind of different, but this one specifically, and you hear that again and again with every coach and every sport. But one of the unique things with us in golf is we're off campus every day anyway. So we're really out there traveling off campus to go practice, and with COVID create some different obstacles with that. And I think the biggest thing that you kind of look back that was exciting is we never had a COVID positive on our team. So we were fortunate with that. But, looking back at the year, some of the highlights with our team stroke average for the year, setting an all-time program record of 288.1, which was over 2.5 strokes better than any previous team in Charleston Southern history. Two of our guys, Tyler Beck and Jake Carter, being all-conference. Ben Carroll, freshman of the year. So that was exciting. They were a fun team, easy team to coach. They made me look like I knew what I was doing. So, hey, every time I say, hey, whatever y'all doing, just keep doing it. It's easy coach.
Hence the Coach of the Year.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I want to ask you about Ben Carroll coming in here, just the second freshman here at CSU history to take home that honor. What impressed you about him so much this season?
Obviously, he's gotten a lot better since he's been here. And I think that just comes with maturity and being comfortable playing under the gun. He's a really, really, really good ball striker, really strong, hits the ball really well. He looks like he should have been playing down at the Ocean Course this past week at the PGA when you watch him tee to green. And our first tournament of the year was down at Kiowa at Oak Point, and that was in late January. So it was the early start of the year in the winter, and we had a couple of alums that were down there watching, one who plays professional golf now, and he was on campus here a few years ago playing, and after about 9 holes, he was watching Ben because we were paired with our team was in 2 threesomes, like playing with each other. And he goes, "God, Coach, this guy is good." I said, "Yeah, he is good." So it's funny that the first term of the year, Johnny Kamara said that to me, and then you watched Ben throughout the year. It was really consistent, had a lot of good rounds, and was recognized by the coaches in the conference as the freshman of the year. And but back on him, great kid, great teammate, and fun to coach as well.
You mentioned how you guys were paired up with each other, and that's not something that's usual in a normal year, in a normal season. Did that bring any challenges, or what kind of a wrinkle did that add in for the season for you guys?
The wrinkle is, when we were, ironically now, when you look back when our season started, those were when the all-time COVID numbers were the highest. So when we started playing, you would play either as your 3 guys would play together, or back then we were playing 6-count 4 for the first few events, so we could have our teams in 2 threesomes. So when you went to go tee off, 3 of your guys would tee off and play together as a threesome, then another threesome would play right behind that. And so you'd kind of hop between those groups. The great thing about doing that is when the guys are playing good, they can feed off each other. If they're not playing good, they can feed off each other, And but that makes it a little more enjoyable for the coach and for the parents or spectators that come to watch, because they get to watch all the team together instead of just one of our players paired with maybe 2 other individuals from 2 different universities. So that was kind of unique. As the semester went on, we went back to more of a traditional format to where you're paired with other playing partners, and so by the time we went through mid-March, it was like we were back to 2019 again, which was refreshing. So when we went on the road, you got on masks and you're doing all that stuff, going into restaurants, gas stations. But when we really got to a tournament, it felt like things were normal. So we were very grateful for that, and that kind of helped too.
What was kind of the biggest difference we saw with just all the different sports, different regulations, different protocols for everything, and things were so different? What were the changes, were there, if any, out on the golf course for you guys?
Yeah, not a lot. And I guess because in golf, I always say, hey, we want to operate our sport like the highest level, like the PGA Tour. So when you turn on TV all year here in 2021, you watch the tour, it looked normal. It's not like, caddies were wearing masks. It's not like players were wearing masks. You might have seen spectators wear masks to Masters, but in golf you can kind of stay 6 feet away. There were some tournaments around the country where you would hear players maybe not pulling flag sticks at different events. But all year for us, we were able to pull flag sticks. We had rakes on the golf course. Some of the golf courses we would go to wouldn't have rakes on the golf course before we got there. But before our tournaments would start, they would put out the rakes. So it was just, use good caution, use your best judgment. Like every other school, we had different protocols for testing and, PCR and antigen and do all these clearances, and you'd get the all clear and we go on the road, go play. But not a whole lot different. Like I said, it always kind of looked like 2019 when you got to an event. Everybody kind of kept their distance from each other and went about it, and we luckily didn't have any issues.
Do you think that was a big factor to your team playing as well as they did this year, kind of being able in such a weird atmosphere to feel a little sense of normalcy out there on the course?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, too, when I talk about the challenge of us heading off campus to practice every day, in a way that could be refreshing because we're able to get out of this bubble, which is constant reminders of masks and social distancing with the cafeteria and classrooms and all that different that today's environment brings, and be able to go out to practice and to do things as normal as we can. Obviously when you would see a basketball team practicing or a football team, they're not wearing masks while they're on the court practicing or, going through drills on the football field or baseball field. But for us, that could be part of it. I think, too, just a sense of being grateful, being able to go compete. When we compete, a lot of our events are on the road. They're out of town. So it involves us, getting in the van and heading down the road and going to someone else's facility. And usually those facilities could be a country club, which is not owned by a university. So we're adhering to those rules. There could have been, a few clubs to where there were some parts of the clubhouse that had limited access or no access. But, hey, we're outside playing golf, and it was good. It was a good year for weather, too, so that helped.
There's a lot worse things you could be doing.
No doubt. Hey, no doubt.
Just kind of talk about the rest of the team. You guys played great. You mentioned the 2 all-conference honors for 2 of your guys. Just kind of summarize what the entire team did this year.
No doubt. A big part of our lineup is we had Alan Smith, Parker Jones, Ben Carroll, Tyler Beck, and Jake Carter in most of our lineup. We had a few of the guys pop in and out of our lineup at times, but those 5 were kind of our core nucleus as we went along. And like we always say, whenever we're determining our lineup, our guys are still having to play and compete to get in our lineup. And ironically, when we played our first tournament at Kiowa in January, we had 6 guys in our lineup, but Jake Carter didn't qualify in our top 6. So he was an all-conference performer, and he did not crack our lineup for that first event. And that just shows you maybe how that kind of gave you a glimpse of, hey, maybe this team could be pretty competitive. Because if it's hard to get in this lineup, that could be a good sign for a player like Jake, who I knew coming in as a grad transfer. I had a feeling he'd be a first-team all-conference guy, and he was. But for him not to get in the lineup, that could be a good sign. But, Parker Jones gave us a lot of good rounds, especially at conference, first couple rounds of conference, couple really good rounds. Alan Smith as well, always very consistent. And we always kind of called him the cockroach because he just wouldn't die. Every tournament he always gave us a really good round there, and he really did that specifically up at Wofford's tournament in early April was nice.
For you, we mentioned Coach of the Year. It's a great honor. What does that award mean for you this season?
Yeah, I think the best thing is when we look at our conference, we have some coaches that have been around our conference a long time, and I've just finished my 4th season, and I'm still the newest coach in the conference. But for them to recognize what this team did this year, with being able to go through the year, going into conference, we were 22-1 against conference opponents, and be able to recognize that and see how good that team played, and to throw an award my way, voted on by the peers who we compete against, whether it be recruiting and obviously at the golf course in competition. That was satisfying because our conference has some phenomenal golf coaches, and to get their respect of getting an award from them, that means a lot.
Well, we'll wrap it up with just this final question. What is your biggest takeaway from this year that you're going to take with you? And when you look back, what are you going to remember most from it?
Just how enjoyable the group was to coach. We had a lot of maturity, and when we talk about maturity and doing the right things, good grades and all that, but with these guys never having a COVID positive, showing how important it was to be doing the right things away from the golf course, in the classroom. And again, I always say, hey, we got to do these right things and have everything line up and fall in place to have the year we did. But it really just kind of echoes that there's a lot of good things going on. And these guys are doing the right things. And for them to get some recognition with the year we had, and that was satisfying. And the takeaway is just how enjoyable they were to be around, how good ambassadors they are of Charleston Southern, and how proud everybody, all the alums, and all the messages we get from them, how proud of the team those guys are.
Well, Coach, congratulations to you on your award. Congratulations to your team on a great season. Look forward to seeing you guys back out on the course this next year.
I appreciate you.
I know we just finished up, but it feels like it's still right around the corner again.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Awesome. Well, for Coach Jason Payne of the men's golf team, I'm Killian McClatchy. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you all next time.